Everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. So today we're gonna look at deleting an information, deleting a record using Process Builder. If you are aware of the functionality of Process Builder, you might know that you can't delete a record using Process Builder, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create an Apex method, invocable method, and we're gonna use that in the Process Builder to delete the information. So the requirement is, say, we got accounts, right? So we got a lot of accounts which are kind of dormant accounts. In other words, they are of no use after a certain time. So as a cleanup process, the team decides to mark an account as inactive, right? When you mark an account as inactive, all the related contacts should automatically get deleted, right? That's just a requirement. I know that in real life scenario that may not happen, but just for now, think about this as a requirement, right? When you have when all the accounts, right, or any accounts that get marked as inactive, all the related contacts get deleted, right? So for instance, we have this, strange account which doesn't make any sense, right? Demo ACCC, whatever. So, and you got this contacts, right? 2 contacts. So when a user goes and mark this active to no, it should automatically delete this account, right? So you can do this very well with the Process Builder. Your admin can do that. All he or she needs is an Apex code with an invocable method, which does the job for you, right? Because Process Builder is it's a very good tool, right? You don't really need to write, code using Process Builder, but at times you can hook up the Apex to your Process Builder to extend the functionality of it, right? So what we're gonna do, the first thing first, you need to log into your org, right? As usual, I'm using a developer account. You can, sign up to free org. Please do not try this on Customer Sandbox. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna take you to developer console. So the way to go to developer console, go to this gearcog icon, and go to developer console. So I've already logged into my developer console. So we're gonna write a new Apex class. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna write a new Apex class. Let's call it as delete contact, right? And so we're gonna make it so we're gonna write as public static void delete cont, right? So list of ID, contact ID, sorry, not contact ID, so this should be count ID, right? So we're gonna do list of contact, right? CT equals to select ID from contact, where account ID in account ID, right? Delete CT, right? Okay, now let me save this first to see if it works. Then I'm gonna have to add invocable annotation, and I explained to you a little bit about that as well. Okay, it just takes, okay, that works fine. Now let me add invocable method. Let's see if it works. Okay, so invocable method, right? You need to understand a few things about invocable method. First of all, your method needs to be static, right? You can't call this without static. Let me delete the static and show you what happens. It will complain. Just gonna take a minute. So that's one of the thing. You can't use a non-static invocable method, right? See, it complained. See, invocable method must be declared as static. So I'm gonna send it back, and you can't use it as a simple ID. It has to be the list of IDs, right? So for instance, okay, let me save this first, and I'm gonna show you what I meant by that. So this is very important if you're a developer, platform developer. You need to know what Invocable method is all about, right? It helps, when you're working with a, Salesforce admin, because you can work together, to make the life of each other simpler, right? Because it's not a good practice to write code for every single thing, right? Because a lot of things you can do using point and click. So Process Builder is amazing stuff, and you don't have to, and your admin don't have to call your service every single time, right? Whenever he or she needs some, code change, you can give one code and you can use that as invocable, for instance, deleting contacts, so the person can use a similar code, right? Okay, so let's say I'm going to use it as an ID, right? And for instance, I'm going to say equals to right, account ID, right? So let's see what happens when it saves. At times it takes time to save because whatever the reason being, the org gets very slower at times. See, the unsupported parameter type ID, right? You got to provide this as a list. So you need to move that as a list, right? Okay, and and then you make it as in, okay, and okay, and now you can't have more than one invocable method in a class, in the same class, right? If you try to do that, for instance, let me try to do this. I will show you what happens. Let's say I put it as delete contact one. It will complain because you can't have more than one. Because think about it, right? You're using the process builder, right? You get confused if you have more than one. So, yeah, and unfortunately the org is slower for some reason. I mean, at times it's super fast, at times it's extremely slow, right? Only one method per type can be defined with invocable method, right? Exactly what I mentioned to you. Okay, all right, so that's fine. And you can define this as a global or as a public, right? You can do either of them. Okay, all right, so let me save it and let's jump into Process Builder. Let's create a Process Builder. Okay, so we have this method, nice and easy. Okay, let's go to Process Builder. I presume everyone knows how to use Process Builder, right? So if you're an admin, or if you're a developer, you still need to know. If you're a developer, you still need to know how to use Process Builder, right? So whatever admin knows, it's often expected the developer should know as well, right? Because it makes the life of a developer easy. Because at times, sometimes the developer works at both as sysadmin as well as a developer. So. Okay, all right. Sorry, I digress. So go to setup here, right? And you can look for Process Builder. It's often under Process Automation. So you go to Process Builder, and we're going to create a Process Builder for account. So we go to New, right? And I'm just going to create as account contact, right? So you can always go to put the description, right? Because so that if someone else, if after you, if someone else wants to have a look at the Process Builder, they can often get the information from looking at the description what it's all about, right? So this process will delete contacts on setting account active status to no, right? Whatever. Okay, so record changes. Okay, so nice and easy, right? It looks like a flowchart, right? You can pretty much do a lot of stuff using it. So add an object. So we are after account object. So you often type account, that's the first in the list. Chooses when a record is created. So we are not going to tick this one, right? So we are not using any schedule stuff and all. So we keep it as such. Okay, so we're going to add a criteria. So the criteria active flag to no, right? So we're going to look for field here. So we're going to look for active. So active, you choose here equals to no, right? And save it. Now, okay, now this is the beginning of the process builder, right? The process builder get initiated, right? When your active flag on account is set to no, right? Now, what should happen, right, when an account's active flag is set to no? Apex trigger, Apex should get kicked in. Apex class should get kicked in, and then it should delete contacts associated with this specific account. So it's pretty easy to do that. So go to add action, right? Look for action type. You see, if you look for action type, you got no option to delete anywhere, right? So go to Apex and then find an Apex class. So you go here, and then so you often choose this one, and then choose an Apex class, right? Okay, so we have delete contacts, so fantastic, right? Now you need to pass the params, right? So if you look at this specific class, right, it expects you to have a list of an ID as an account, right? So what we're going to do, so we're going to add row and find a variable. So you need to copy the name of this variable here, right? And so we're gonna do, okay, and then you're gonna do ID. No, I'm not interested in ID. I'm not interested in field reference. So you're gonna do account ID, right? And choose action name, delete contact, save, and activate, right? Confirm. That's pretty much it. So we have activated the process builder. Right, now let's look at the process builder again. Okay, so we have this process builder. See, description nice and easy, right? Okay, now let's refresh this for a second, and then go back to your detail. And let's say I'm a user. I'm going to change this to active to no, right? So we're gonna set it to no. Let's see what happens. All right, fingers crossed. Okay, so we're gonna look at the details. Voila, contact is gone, right? So if you wanted to double check whether the contact is really gone, what we can do, I often believe in double checking the information, right? So you can go to query editor here, right? And just type it here, and then you can often look at select, copy this, right, equals to, right, okay, so you use the tooling API. Well, there's no records associated with that specific account, right? So yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to talk about today, right? Nice and easy feature. You can use it. I presume some of you already know about this feature, right? Invocable, you can use this using a flow, right? Process Builder is one of the example. Nice and simple. I just thought I wanted to, I can demonstrate that in a short span of time, right? So as you can see, we built this in pretty much like, less than 20 minutes, right? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about it today. Thank you so much for attending. Adios and greetings from New Zealand.